Today I want to compare the quality of DJI Pocket 3 and Go3. I know it's kinda unfair, but both these cameras are advertised to a degree as a vlogging cameras, and I know that sound from DJI would be better because I'm using the DJI mic, but you can use any mic like that which records internally with the Go3, so it's not a big deal. And I'm not using any wind reduction in Osmo, but there is, I think, wind reduction in the Go3. So I got a Pocket for like 3 days already, but last 2 days I wanted to test it with different scenarios, but it was snowing and raining, so I wasn't able to do so because the Pocket 3 does not have any IP rating, so I can assume there is a zero water resistance. Judging from the screen, the Pocket Osmo is much better in terms of the image quality, and I'm recording in normal mode, so it is not D-Log, it's not high-log gamma, it is just a normal mode. And I tested it before. The Go3 is problematic when you go into a bit darker area. It doesn't have to be like evening or at night. Even if you go to darker part of the forest, then the quality falls apart. So I wonder if this is the case also for DJI Osmo. The exposure is kind of different on both. My face is much darker on the Go3, and the DJI Osmo seems to be exposed correctly, but the problem is that a lot of users reported that it overexposed. At the moment I'm at 0 EV and it looks better on the screen, although the thing is that might be just the quality of the screen or the way the screen displays the footage. And I think the biggest plus of both of them is the weight. Sure, I have to swap my hand from time to time because it's quite cold, but other than that it is much lighter than any mirrorless camera. So it would be nice if one of them is waterproof, but I guess there is also Osmo Action4, but then you don't have the gimbal like stabilization like you got on a Pocket, so there is definitely no perfect vlogging camera. Regarding the water resistance, the Go3 got IPX4 rating, which means it is resistant to small showers of water, something like that. The definition is that you can pour some water on it, which means it would probably withstand light rain. And the caveat is that you have to got the camera inside the pod, because if camera is not there, the pod is not that water resistant. But other than that, it is for sure better than Osmo Pocket 3 in terms of water resistance. And the thing is, I live in Poland, so where I live we got like 100 to 120 gloomy days when you can get a rain or snow and it's quite cold. So regarding the cold, it's probably better for Pocket 3 because you won't get any overheating, but in terms of rain you won't be able to use it outside if it is raining. And the moment I got face tracking on both of them, I mean on DJI Osmo there is an option to have a face tracking. On Go3 I don't even remember, but they don't look that bad. But I'm on the bright meadow, so it is not very demanding from both of them. But then I will turn into the forest and that would be probably different story. Some time ago I tested the Go3 against Panasonic S5 IIX, and that was terrible, although not fair because S5 IIX is full frame and Go3 is really small sensor, and Pocket 3 is 1 inch in theory, so that should be better. So we'll see in a moment if it is better or not. And there is one camera which is quite interesting, which might be the perfect vlogging camera, and it is OM system OM5. The problem, it is just new iteration of Olympus EM5 Mark III, so it is basically Mark IV, and it seems there are not many differences on paper, but the main difference is that OM5 got automatic ISO in manual exposure, which is huge. I mean, you can use camera for vlogging with aperture priority exposure, but if you want to expose with 180 degrees rule, then you need auto ISO, and EM5 and marks of EM5 haven't got that option, and OM5 got this option at last. So there is the potential that OM5 might be the best vlogging camera paired with like a 9mm f1.7. So actually I just ordered OM5 to see if it's the case, but at the moment I got these two to test, and then I might compare them against the OM5. The OM5 is heavier than, I guess, both of them combined together, so it's not that it is like ultimate solution, but the IP rating is IP53 for OM5. Is actually worse than Go3, but it can withstand the showers of rain up to 60 degrees, so it is not that it's much worse, and a lot of users report that they can use Olympus cameras during the storm and it's not a problem. And I've just entered the forest and it's much darker here. It doesn't seem on the screen that it got much worse, but I think it did. Maybe yes, and exposure is a bit different on Pocket 3 also, but I'm not sure. It's hard to actually judge on these small screens if it is much worse or not, but I think both of them got a bit worse here, but because the ISO is higher, but I think the Go3 looks worse than before compared to Pocket 3. The thing is that also stabilization in Go3 is digital one, so whenever there are worse lighting conditions, there is more grain and you can see this stabilization, there are artifacts and stuff like that, so it is not ideal solution. And Pocket 3 is much better in that regard, although I haven't seen much of the stabilization yet, so it's hard to say probably, but based on the reviews I've seen, it is almost perfect, except you get this bobbing related to walking. So it's like 3-axis gimbal, there are 4-axis or even 5-axis gimbals, so then you won't have that bobbing, but here you got the bobbing, so it is a bit different than digital stabilization, which this digital one got probably better final result, but the caveat is, all the con is that you got these ugly artifacts, especially if the lighting is not perfect. I can say I can vlog like that for 2 hours probably, switching hands and if I got only one of them, I would probably be able to vlog indefinitely until my memory card is depleted, so, or battery. And I'm also testing the battery in Pocket 3, and if there is any overheating, it shouldn't be. Today it's like 5 degrees Celsius outside, it is quite cold. I guess I have to put my gloves. Judging what I see, the Pocket 3 is better in these lighting conditions, and sure, the Go3 is still acceptable, but I think I paid like $100 more for the Osmo 3 than Go3, and I got this creator combo, so additional battery and some additional accessories, so I'd say it's a better deal. But I think the Go3 is almost as resilient as GoPro or Action from DJI, and Pocket 3 is quite fragile because the screen is fragile. There are already reports on YouTube that people got their screen broken. It just broke off the camera on it, or at least it's not rotating properly. And the Go3, I haven't seen anyone destroying it unless it was planned. So I say in terms of toughness, the Insta Go is better, but then also the sound quality is much worse on the Insta. I think at the moment I got the wind reduction. There is not much wind today, so the sound from Insta might be muffled. And I'm recording on Insta in 2.7K normal mode because I want the stabilization to be back in. I don't want to run the footage through the Insta Go app or Insta360 app because it's quite annoying. So I prefer to use this mode over the free frame video, but some users claim that free frame gives you better quality, although the resolution is 1440p, so there is some downside of the free frame, and you have to run it through the application to get the stabilization, which is quite annoying, although the stabilization seems to be better that way. Judging from the screen, the stabilization on Pocket 3 is amazing, but I might be wrong. I have to check it when I come home. But when I checked the Pocket 3 against S5 2X, the stabilization has been much better. So maybe not much, but it was definitely better, especially if I tripped. So when I tripped on the S5 2X, I got wobbly corners. On Pocket 3 it was quite okay. So, and the sound quality with this mic is really nice. And another thing is that this is 32-bit float, so you can adjust it in post however you want. So definitely better than any internal mic of any camera, but if you got external mic you probably got better quality, although in most cases it is not 32-bit float. I think it's one of the first cameras which got 32-bit float internally, which I'd say is huge because it's another thing you can forget to set up the levels correctly. So it is a big deal, I'd say. So maybe I would change the Pocket to D-Log and change this one to free frame video to see if it's any better, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, now I got the D-Log on Pocket 3 and free frame on the Go3, but the field of view is wide, which looks weird. But I guess, yeah, maybe you cannot set it, I don't know. Anyway, it is D-Log 3 on Pocket, and it is free frame mode on the Go3. I'm not sure it looks any better, but Go3 shows you this low resolution footage in a preview, so it is not the final quality. It is worse on the screen, but the final quality of the footage record is a bit better. I guess using Pocket 3 in normal mode is a good idea, because you got ISO from 50 to 6400, so it is plenty. And on Insta you always limited to 3200, so it is better in that regard. And in D-Log you got the same limitation on Pocket 3, it is 3200 maximum ISO, and high log gamma is the same. So but when I'm looking on the screen, the Pocket 3 looks much better, but this is due to that Go3 shows you this lame low resolution file in a preview, and Pocket shows high resolution file, so it is better on the screen. Yeah, so I guess the only problem with the Pocket 3 is it is not water resistant, and the other problem is that screen may break off, and someone on YouTube suggested the screen might be breaking off because of this case you got with the Pocket 3, and that might be true because the fit is really snug, and when you get the camera out it might grab the screen and tear it off. And now when I'm getting this camera out of this box, I just spread the box and try to pull it out gently, like every man should do. So maybe that would protect me from breaking off the screen. But what I think, maybe they designed it that way so they are selling additional DJI Care, because when I registered this camera, which is necessary, you have to register it. When I registered the Pocket 3, I got a pop-up, and I got it constantly in Mimo app to buy DJI Care, which protects me even from the mechanical failures. So actually I might opt for the DJI Care. It's like 55 euros, so around 60 bucks. That shouldn't be a big cost, especially that I already saved more than 100 bucks because I bought it in Germany, so it was much cheaper than here in Poland, which is weird, but it is what it is. And on the screen now, the exposure on Go3 looks kinda weird, like it is too dark, and the quality is much worse than before. I don't know, maybe it got a bit darker. It's like probably 2 hours to sunset, but the sun is totally covered by the clouds, so maybe it got a bit darker. Now I'm out of this darker part of the forest, but the exposure on Go3 is kind of lame, and it looks okay on the Pocket 3. So definitely the quality of Pocket 3 is better. So I guess the Pocket 3 is a quite reasonable buy. Of course, Go3 got the different purpose. It's just a small camera, and the additional feature, so the pod helps you use it as a vlogging camera. So it's I guess a pro of Go3. It's better than Go2, which haven't got that pod, but compared to Pocket 3, if we are talking about the vlogging cameras, the Go3 is no go. And I guess the Pocket 3 might be this sweet spot between the quality, the weight, and the cumbersomeness. It is a bit cumbersome, I have to say. The gimbal seems fragile, the screen seems fragile, but the quality you get, the stabilization and the quality of the footage is really impressive. So also the battery life seems to be really nice. I started from like 75%. I guess I can click it. It's 53, so it is above 50%. So I'm recording for around 20 minutes, maybe even more, maybe 25, and it's going strong. And this is without the extended battery. So yeah. And also some people complain about DJI being so tall, with these additional accessories, but I think it's actually a good thing, because then I don't have to use any tripods or jobby. Like now I'm on jobby, I got two cameras on the bracket and I'm on jobby, and the job is lame and quite heavy. And if you got the DJI with the additional battery, this extended battery, and the handle, then it is tall enough that you can actually keep it quite low and you don't have to extend your arm very much to have a proper framing. And I wonder, yeah, okay, so when you got face tracking, it keeps you in the middle of the frame, which is kind of lame. I hope that they could update the firmware so it keeps you in the rule of thirds, and whenever you switch hands, then it keeps you on the other side. That would be like amazing and perfect, because if you vlog, you sometimes want to show something, and if you're in the middle of the frame, you just cover what you want to show. But if you're on the rule of thirds, you got 2/3 of the screen to show something which is behind you. Now I've been able to frame it in the rule of thirds on the Go3, but the DJI Pocket keeps me in the center of the frame, so it is quite annoying in that case. And now I switch hand and I'm also able to frame myself in the rule of thirds on Go3, because I can rotate my wrist to do it, and when I rotate the wrist, the gimbal rotates and still keeps me in the middle of the frame. So that would be nice if they are able to update the firmware so the tracking keeps you on the rule of thirds. You can to an extent do it, but you can just choose one side, so when you switch hands you would be on the wrong side of the rule of thirds, so it would be quite annoying. And it is quite annoying. I've tested it before. So at the moment center it is on the Pocket 3, probably much better stabilization. I would have to run this 10 minutes of footage through the Go3 app. It is quite fast on my PC, but it's another annoying step. So I'd say if you want a vlogging camera, you want to just press record something, then the lowest amount of the post-processing, and you just want to publish it, and that's it. But with Go3 and free frame mode, there is additional step which I say is quite annoying. So yeah, so that's the quick comparison. I think that Pocket 3 is much better, but I will definitely confirm this on the PC and see if it's the case. And I wonder if the free frame gives any advantage over the normal 2.7K mode. I kinda doubt it, but we'll see. And it's quite noisy here, so I have to end this. So cheers, mate. After reviewing the footage, I have to say that Pocket 3 is much better than Go3. The stabilization is better, both in baked in and flow state mode, even though the flow state is considered to be really good. Pocket 3 also exposes the footage better. It is probably due to the new firmware, because in the reviews I've seen online, the exposure was all over the place, and it wasn't the case today. Maybe there was one moment when it was too dark, but other than that it was really good without touching exposure compensation, especially in the normal mode. I think maybe D-Log has been a bit overexposed. Sound quality is definitely better on Pocket 3, but you can record with any external recorder or wireless mic with internal recording option to mitigate this problem with Go3. And actually Go3 sound is not terrible, the wind reduction is quite okay. Also colors straight from the camera are better on Pocket 3. I think the normal mode is a way to go, especially if you don't want to spend your time color grading the footage. My 3 complaints are: the 20mm field of view is a little bit too tight for my taste, especially compared to 11.2mm on Insta Go3. It could be mitigated with a longer monopod, so it's not a big deal, although it complicates things a bit. Center framing in tracking mode is not ideal, but you can probably live with it just by turning your gimbal to front-facing mode if you want to show something. Pocket 3 lacks IP rating, so I'd say it's not even drizzle resistant. Go3 is IPX4 rated, so I guess you can use it in a small rain. I haven't tested it though. This means, based on the weather data, that I cannot use Pocket 3 for 140 days here in Poland because of rain or snow. It also might be the case that I cannot use it during the summer too, due to overheating. I have to confirm this with the new firmware, probably by simulating the summer. There are like 40 to 50 really hot days in Poland, so the camera might be out of service for more than half a year due to the weather conditions. Other than that, it seems like almost perfect vlogging and not only camera. I guess it might be a really good camera for cooking shows when you have to track someone in the kitchen. And I'm going to test it intensively for upcoming 2 weeks, so stay tuned. Give me a like if you find it useful. The affiliate links are as always in the description, and you can support me on Patreon if you want. Cheers, mate!